What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and I do have a new song out recently called Tides, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, I'm recording this just a couple of hours before the town hall, so I'll try to get this up as quickly as possible, but these are the three biggest questions that I have for the August town hall. Let's go ahead and just dive right in. So, number one, we have seen a rise in conversion rates and sign-up metrics, and the onboarding experience has been completely revamped. So I'm curious to get the team's perspective on this. Now, this is something that I've been asking. It's been a question that's been around for a while in terms of like when I do these videos for previous town halls. But this is the first time I'm actually very curious to see what is different, right? Because in the past, it was more so, hey, we know the team's working on some stuff, right? We know the team's trying to get the onboarding different. And over the past, even just 2 months since Conclave Arcana came out, that was in May. And then I believe in June and July, we got all of the foundation set. We got the, frontier mode. We got a bunch of different things, and the campaign mode, right? So we got a bunch of different things that seem as though they were actually leading to an increase in the numbers, right? And I did a video on this previously that the amount of spellbook purchases has been exponentially higher. And that doesn't seem to have slowed down. I mean, sure, well, there'll be some up days and down days, but we're above 20, 25 on average, right? Sometimes even crossing 30 spellbook purchases per day. And you might look at that and say, oh, well, that doesn't really matter. That's a small amount. And okay, fine. In the general, in the general landscape of things, yes, it pales in comparison to the amount of people that are in crypto or in crypto gaming. But from where we were just 4, 5, 6 months ago, where we were getting 1, 2, 3, maybe sometimes 0 spellbook purchases per day, this is huge, right? It shows not only is there an increase, an exponential increase, but a general trend upwards that we are headed in the right direction. So I don't want to jump, I don't want to go too deep on this. I really just want to understand, okay, something seems to be working really, really well. Or maybe it's a bunch of things working all together. And I would just love to get this from the team's perspective, just because they have way more data, way more insight than we do into what it's like for a new player to come in. What is it that's tripping them up? What is it that's actually getting them to stay? And as we move ahead, right, I didn't include it here, but one of the things that I'm curious about is how do we get guilds to the next level? Right? We know that's something that's on the team's radar. That's something on the team's kind of wish list for this year. So if we can get more of that in the future, and to really help expand on this onboarding experience and get people into solid groups, to me that's into solid social groups, right, within the game, that's going to be really exciting. So that's question number one. Question number two, we are now about 3 months into Conclave Arcana. I did a recent video showing that, pack sales seem to be going well. Cards, are holding their value. At least, the summoners are holding their value, despite the fact that we have a bunch of new rarities, despite the fact that, the market is down. It's been fascinating for me in a very good way, right? So once again, since this is the team's perspective, this is really what I'm trying to ask, right? We can go and look at the metrics all we want on our own from the outside looking in, but once again, I'm curious to get the team's perspective on how Conclave Arcana is performing. Now, we know that, at least Dave was kind of very open about the fact that when Conclave Arcana came out, he had a certain number that he was trying to hit within the pre-sale as well as within the first 30 days. I believe we hit those numbers, right? And recently, I think we just crossed 4.5 million DEC, or 4.5 billion DEC, I should say, which is roughly $4.5 million in $4.5 million in whenever DEC is at peg. Obviously, we're almost 20% below that right now, but point still stands that we are seeing a good amount of purchases still. So I'm curious to know if Dave has any 3, 6 months, 10-month goals, because I believe the sale is going to run for 10 months from May of this year to March of next year, right? And how we're tracking towards those goals. I don't know if he's going to be as open and public about it as he was previously. Not that he has any reason to either hide it or to be open. It's just I was pleasantly surprised to see how open he was about where he wanted the company to be, where he wanted pack sales to be. And so as we move forward now, into the the middle and final parts of the sale later on this year and early into next year, I'm curious to know what are those goals looking like, and maybe some of that has shifted, right? Maybe he can even talk about the fact that this was my goal, but now we're seeing more players come in, we're seeing more signups, all right, or whatever the case is. So maybe we're creating stretch goals. I just want to get kind of like the mid to long term perspective on where we're at, since we're in month 3 out of month 10 of these cards being available, or these packs being available in the store. So that is question number 2. And then finally, for number 3, this might be more for me, although I'm sure there are many people in this boat. We've seen and we've heard a lot of information about many other aspects within the game, whether it's the new onboarding experience, whether it's campaign mode, frontier mode. We've heard that guilds, right, are going to be getting an overhaul. That's another big one. So my focus is land, which is technically a DAO-related thing, since Cryptomancer works for the DAO. But obviously, this is very much, Cryptomancer is very much or very closely working with Matt, and so I'm just curious to get the rough roadmap for land. And this is not to say that the team has not been working on land related items. In fact, if anything, what's been great to see is they've incorporated a lot of in-game, other features in game to include this. So whether it's the wagon kits, right, for conflicts, whether it's midnight potions for the packs, whether it's the frontier, or not the frontier, was it fortune draws and auction marks for all the different black foils and promo cards and things like that. It's really cool to see that we're getting so much more utility on land. But there is a roadmap for land, or there is like an end goal for land, right? We want to get to 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. And I've talked about this in the past, where it's just like, when are we going to get there if we're caught up on so many side quests? Which, again, I'm not saying the side quests are bad, but there is an end goal for land that we want to try to get to. And I don't mind the detours, right? I don't mind the detours, but I think it would be good, just because we haven't heard about this in a while, it would be good to get an idea of like, all right, what is the team looking at when they look at the rest of the year for land? What is the next 6 months, or I guess that would take us into next year. But like, yeah, sure. What is the next, like, by the end of the year into next year? What does the next like 6 to 18 months look like for land in an ideal scenario? Knowing that things can change, knowing that there's going to be detours and cool ideas that pop up, whether it's from within the team, whether it's from the community asking these things. We already know that, Dave had mentioned that he wants to see like a land related card, right? So that's something that's been teased in the past. But again, that is a side quest, a cool one. And again, I'm not trying to take anything away from it. It's a cool side quest, but we want to get to buildings. We want to get to other resources. We want to get to crafting other whatever it is, right? And really get land up and running the way that it should be. And so I'm not even rushing. It's not even in the sense of like, oh my gosh, I want land 2.0 to be here by such and such a date. It's more so, okay, I want the team to be thinking about this. Not that they're not. I'm sure that they are. But I'm hoping that they can give us kind of like a roadmap. Again, this is not about like, hey, commit to a date and like we're going to hold you to it. This is just like, hey, I just want to know how the team is thinking about land from where we're at right now all the way to 2.0 and beyond, right? In an ideal scenario, what are the steps? What are the planned detours and side quests that we're going to take? And where do we, get the time to come back and focus on the main thing? So that's really all I'm looking for with this, just because obviously I'm very excited about land and want to get all the rest of my plots up and running. So that's question number 3 for me. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What are the questions that you are hoping will be answered, or if there's anything here that I discussed, is there anything more in depth you are looking for? But that is all I have for you guys. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.